Thanks very much, Lascian Corla. I want to speak to amendment number 3 in my name and Deputy Pearse Doherty's name. And what the amendment seeks to do is to address a number of what we would see as weaknesses within this piece of legislation. A number of amendments ruled out of order for various reasons, which also sought to improve, as we would see it, on the legislation. But this amendment seeks to deal with 3 pieces. One, the prospect that people who have holiday homes, potentially with very little electricity use, not used only for some weeks of the year, or those who have multiple properties, that they would be in a position to receive a payment on multiple occasions for those properties. And, at the very least, it doesn't reflect their electricity use, their energy use, the cost to them of electricity. And we think it's an anomaly that should be addressed, particularly when you consider it in line with the potential risk of people who are house sharing, people who are splitting bills, people who have whose name isn't on the bill, potentially missing out on this payment. And that's reflected in the next amendment we have there, F, that there would be provision made to ensure that renters receive the benefit and that they get the benefit of that. We also call for a dispute resolution mechanism to be put in place, and I know the Minister, in the second stage speech, had indicated that such provision would be made. I think it is really important that this payment, in our opinion, isn't happening anywhere nearly quickly enough, but when it is triggered, we need to ensure that those people who are entitled to it get the benefit of it. And in paragraph G, then, we want to make provision for a fundamental weakness of this approach is the universal nature of it. It isn't targeted. The government have made their case in relation to that, but it is a fundamental weakness of it, and we know that there are very many people who despite other measures that government brought in, will still be below the waterline, and with this even with this €100, will still be with the waterline. We are incredibly frustrated that the government haven't gone further earlier, and it has taken them this long to come to this juncture. And we have set out at our pre-budget submission, and will set out in the days ahead, the course that we believe government should take. But a fundamental part of that is a response that is reflective of the burden on individuals and individual families, and we don't see that within this legislation. In paragraph G, there we want provision made for those people who, like I would say, everybody in this House, don't need this support, that they would have opportunity to forego it, redirect it towards the charity sector working in the area of energy poverty. This amendment, I think, would strengthen the bill. There are many other amendments. I think we put in 11 altogether, 10 ruled out of order. I believe they would have strengthened the bill. I think I would ask the Minister to support the amendment. I would also ask the Minister to take on board the speeches from across the House at second stage, that from across the political spectrum, particularly in the opposition, that pointed to the weakness of this bill, that pointed, we appreciate that there are constraints on government in terms of the targeting of this, but those constraints are self-inflicted by government. So you haven't done the work over the years in terms of identifying those living in energy poverty, those at risk of energy poverty. There isn't the sophistication in the architecture of the state and the departments to direct those resources in the way that we should, and that is down to a lack of preparation and address in that regard. So I think coming out of this, the government have indicated that they will come with not a mini budget but proposals in relation to cost of living. I would ask that the weaknesses of this bill are addressed in the suite of measures that are brought forward, and Sinn Féin will be more than happy to advise in that regard. Thank you.